What is happening, Magnus? So, from what I understand, there has been a severe backlash with the Joe Biden proclaiming that on this Easter Sunday, he is making it Transgender Visibility Day or something like that. We talked about this yesterday. We've got some follow-up news here about what's going on and what people have been saying and doing and reacting to this stuff. I just wouldn't have, you wouldn't have thought that if he's trying to win this term that he would have done that in a predominantly Christian country whose book and scripture says that these acts are not a good thing. You would proclaim that on the second most popular religious holiday here in America. Now, from what I understand, it's actually been, this day has been in effect for around 10 years, I believe. I saw something. So, there will be days where Easter won't fall on the 31st. But what people are finding interesting is that he chose to do it this year, an election year, and on Easter. It doesn't make sense if you want to win an election. I think he just destroyed all of his chances, personally. And I said before, there shouldn't be any violence against any trans people. I know that I have several trans followers and LGBTQ people that follow me, and they write me and they tell me stuff. And it's like, with all the pandering and everything else that's going on, they're totally sick of it too. So let's see what let's see exactly what is going on here, folks. Come on now, don't do this to me. Come on. There we go.
Now to this. Critics say Biden and the woke mob are taking a swipe at Christians this Easter. This year, Easter Sunday falls on...
That's what I was saying. Christians are going to find it a slap in the face. They're going to find it sacrilegious. They're going to find it just absolutely disrespectful religiously to God. They're going to find it an abomination to do something like that. I used to be a Christian. I know. So I'm just like, wait, what? And I already explained, I'm a spiritual person in that I believe that there is an all-powerful good creator of the universe, and that there are evil forces out there that this good spirit being must battle and eventually will take care of. But in the meantime, hang on. You know what I mean?
Transgender Visibility Day, which is traditionally on March 31st. But this year, not only did Fairfax County, Virginia, make an official proclamation for Easter Sunday, so did President Biden. Biden was the first president ever to issue an official proclamation for Transgender Day of Visibility. And this was back in 2021. And in his proclamation this year, he said, quote, "Today we send a message to all transgender Americans. You are location for Transgender
right here, he looks determined.
Visibility."
And right there, he looks like he's not exactly knowing what's going on.
This year, he said, quote, "Today we send a message to all transgender Americans. You are loved, you are heard, you are understood, you belong. You are America, and my entire administration and I have your back." The Fairfax County Board making a similar proclamation this week.
I'm just very happy that we're recognizing a community that has too often been pushed into the shadows and celebrating yet another community within our diverse tapestry here in Fairfax County.
Okay, so this day actually goes back to 2010, and when President Biden first made this proclamation back in 2021, that year Easter was on April 4th, except this year they both happen on the same day, Lisa.
But it's also a random day created by a random person out of Michigan, in the same way that I could declare March 30th is the day of Lisa. The White House also banned religious-themed designs from the White House Easter egg art contest, when the whole point of the...
Yeah, I heard that. That they banned like any Christian type symbols. It is a pagan holiday that Christians have adopted as their own. So they're going to want to put their imagery in it. And you're saying you can't do it at the White House? Listen, conspiracy theorists and people that are awake, the true meaning of woke, are having a field day with truthing on this. A field day. You know what I'm saying? The people that say that the governments are run by evil, this is just all the proof that they need. You get what I'm saying? Like, they laying it on a platter for them.
Easter is to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It is a religious holiday, a religious celebration. To celebrate the day of trans visibility in and of itself is an affront to Christianity, because the Bible says that God made man and he made woman. He made male and female. To say otherwise is to deny the...
Her eyes are very interesting. Are they Asian? Is she Asian? Or part Asian? Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Very interesting.
The truth is to deny God's creation. Also, to do it on Easter is blasphemous. You can even go back to the last Trans Day of Visibility in 2023. He celebrated after Christian individuals were murdered by a trans person at the Covenant School in Nashville. And then the White House proceeded to go on and say that it was the trans community under attack, not Christianity. So I am so sorry that I believe that Joe Biden understands the optics of it, and he is doing this intentionally, and he is thumbing his nose at Christians and Easter, and he's essentially spitting in the face of Christians everywhere.
Well, we also have...
Something's going on, because in this day of sensitivity, everyone's sensitive, and that's offensive, that's offensive, that's offensive, that's offensive. I would have thought that they wouldn't declare that, because they would be like, hey, the majority of Americans are Christian. They're going to find offense to this. Why would we offend the majority of Christians? It's like, we can declare this day, but why do it during the election year on Easter? It's just to me, it's career, you know what.
There's a Virginia mom who told Fox News Digital, Stephanie Lundquist, that, quote, they are intentionally trying to offend Christians on the holiest of days by forcing gender ideology down their throats. This is reprehensible and unbecoming of our elected representatives, David.
Isn't Joe Biden Catholic?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. I'm with Lisa. This is not a thing. It was made up. It's like Kwanzaa. It was made up by somebody to do something. Who are they appealing to? There are roughly 1.6 million or so people in the U.S. according to...
Well, aren't all holidays made up? But I know what he's getting at. It's not like certain holidays were like a religious official things, or certain government issued days that were not just a guy one day declaring it and then everyone else adopting it. I know what he's saying here, but I know that people are going to say, well, they're all made up.
Some reports that identify as transgender. Where are they going? But here's what they've done. They're gaslighting the American people because of the coincidence of this made-up day versus an actual day that means something to billions of people worldwide, not just here in the United States. They want us talking about them.
I also thought about this. I would like to see what would happen in a Muslim country where someone tried to do this. It'd be very interesting.
And this whole thing with the Easter egg hunt, now I've been to a few of those. It's a lot of fun. You eat a lot of too many eggs. But part of it was people expressing themselves. So now the government, under the Biden auspice, will tell you that you can't present a religious, First Amendment, a religious imagery on an egg. I mean, again, I'm even more cynical than Lisa. This is gaslighting a topic. How could you be that calm? Because I know you're not. No, but seriously, they're just gaslighting us into this topic. This is false, just like this quote, Day of Visibility. You're visible every other day of the year.
Okay. Joey, I'm going to have to get you on the next one. I'm
I saw people in my comment section and other comment section. They're like, They're plenty visible. What are you talking about? Yes, everyone is visible.
Backlash building over President Biden's proclamation of Easter Sunday as Transgender Day of Visibility. The Empire State Building in New York City will be lit tonight in pink, white, and the light blue for the transgender flag, and Christians everywhere are outraged. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson is live.
God,
with
this
new
is
reactions.
such a storm of controversy. What is he doing?
Well, Alicia, Republicans are blasting President Biden over designating his proclamation, designating March 31st the Trans Day of Visibility, which this year happens to coincide with Easter. President Biden marking the solemn occasion on X, posting, quote,
"Oh, really quick, everyone that's religious, stop trying to convert me. Stop trying to bring me over, okay? Like, I'll let you know, okay? If I'm ready to join organized religion, again, which I believe is crooked. If I decide to join organized religion again, I'll let you know, and then you can start sending me emails, okay? Like, it's way too much. Trust me, and I used to be religious, and even when I was deeply religious, I wasn't the type to try to get at anyone on this street and try to preach to anyone all the time, trying to convert everybody. I would pick and choose. I understand people's body language and understand when people are ready to receive. And absolutely, I've been through enough. I'll let you know if I'm ready to be religious again, because you guys are just, I know you have good intentions. I'm just saying, I'll let you know when I'm ready. Then I'll reach out to you, okay? And I'll say, hey, everyone, I'm ready to be religious again. Let me know what you know about this. Let me know what you know about that.
Today on Transgender Day of Visibility, I have a simple message to all trans Americans. I see you. You are made in the image of God, and you're worthy of respect and dignity. Biden posted the following Easter greeting earlier this morning. Jill and I send our warmest wishes to Christians around the world celebrating the power of hope and the promise of Christ's resurrection this Easter Sunday. Now, the Trump campaign responded earlier to both of these. Sadly, these are just two more examples of the Biden administration's years-long assault on the Christian faith. We call on Joe Biden's failing campaign in the White House to issue an apology to the millions of Catholics and Christians across America who believe today is for one celebration only, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson said yesterday, quote, the Biden White House has betrayed the central tenet of Easter, which is the resurrection of Jesus Christ, banning sacred truth and tradition, while at the same time,
knew people were going to go off
Sunday
on
as
this.
Transgender Day is outrageous and abhorrent. The American people are taking note. Now, Georgia's Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock, who's also a reverend, disagrees.
Wait, what?
Apparently, the speaker finds trans people abhorrent. And I think he ought to think about that. The fact of the matter is, as you said, March 31st has been a day to lift up transgender people who endure violence and bigotry. Easter, the date changes every single day. But this is just one more instance of folks who do not know how to lead us, trying to divide us. And this is the opposite of the Christian faith.
Now, tomorrow's the annual Easter egg roll here at the White House. The White House says it is banning any religious symbols from an art competition for the little children. Critics are saying, why call it the Easter egg roll if you can't do religious symbols? Might as well call it the holiday egg roll, or just quite simply the egg roll. And as the senator mentioned, Easter, of course, doesn't always fall on March 31st. The next time Easter falls on March 31st, Alicia, 2086.
Lucas Tomlinson live at the White House. Happy Easter to you and your family. Thank you, Lucas. And before we get started, I do want to let everyone know we have heard from the White House on this. White House spokesperson Andrew Bates issuing a statement saying, quote, as a Christian who celebrates Easter with family, President Biden stands for bringing people together and upholding the dignity and freedoms of every American. Sadly, it's unsurprising politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. President Biden will never abuse his faith for political purposes or for profit. Now, Joey, that statement there is actually a little bit for political profit when you read between the lines there, where he's actually kind of taking a dig at President Trump and the Bibles that he is selling. But what is your response to all of this?
I think if you're President Biden and you haven't checked your watch on the tarmac in Afghanistan, if you haven't fumbled Laken Riley's name and weren't bullied into saying it, if you hadn't essentially ignored the fallen police officer that the entire country is memorializing and missing this weekend, if you hadn't done so many things that make Central Americans, right Americans, patriotic Americans, military Americans, police and fire Americans, blue-collar Americans feel personally aggrieved in the last couple of years, you probably could go through with the Trans Day on Easter and not a lot of things would be said about it. It's the entire body of work. When he sits there and they put out a statement that says, President Biden will not abuse his faith for political gain. That's interesting to me because he's abused his heritage. He's been Hispanic, Irish, Italian. He's abused his son's death. His son has died in Iraq multiple times according to him. So he's where's the dignity in that? Where's the dignity in the way he makes every single thing he does comment on specifically about the hardship that he had? That's the way he identifies the thing. How does this matter to me? How am I involved in this? What does this mean to me? He gets caught time after time embellishing or lying about his own past in order to connect himself to something. And so then we come out with this, this proclamation on Easter. I understand that the two dates are, one moves, one doesn't. They fell on the same day. He's the first president to make the proclamation. He did it in 2021. He didn't have to. I'm sorry, but people that live an alternative lifestyle shouldn't get the same dignity and respect from our government as those that on Friday that fought in Vietnam. Not everybody gets a day. That doesn't mean we don't like you or find you important. I don't know a Triple J day. I don't know people from Georgia day or people that talk like a hillbilly day. And I think all those people should have all the
Triple
respect in
J
the world.
day?
So, you see this coming as a leader and understand not everybody gets a day, not everything. He's turned Easter into a trans celebration in his tweets and comments. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, and Lisa, we started this conversation yesterday, right? So much has happened in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to call it blurring the lines, mixing things up and together and causing outrage and causing people to be at each other's necks, which it is doing.
Hours there, there's been a lot of criticism, but there's been actually some piling on from people in Biden camp. Particularly, we heard from the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, issuing a statement saying, on this day, the United States recognizes the achievements and progress that trans persons have made in the global struggle for equality and reaffirms its commitment to supporting the equality, inclusion, and full recognition of the human rights of transgender persons. Additionally,
Sounds like an ESG
NBC
statement.
News decided to also make a statement saying Transgender Day of Visibility is dedicated to celebrating trans people and acknowledging the discrimination the community faces. NBC News spoke to trans people about how their life satisfaction has changed since transitioning. Your thoughts?
Well, this is a clear effort and a coordinated effort to remove God from our society and to replace God with false gods. And in this instance, it's the trans community. They clearly want us to bow at the altar of the trans community instead of bow to God. And even if you don't believe in God, you should want to live in a society that does. Because what God does as a society means that we are accountable to something greater than ourselves. We are a society with boundaries. We're a society rooted in something deeper with meaning. As human beings, we're imperfect, we're fallible, we're sinful, we're all these bad things. Our founding fathers knew that, which is why they try to protect us from ourselves in the way they devised.
I just want to live in a society where people aren't trying to piss each other off all the time and cause controversy and have people at each other's throats and have different ideologies battling all the time. It seems like everything that's put out is always, it just feels like that recently. There's a whole lot of heated stuff with everything from the entertainment to the politics. It's just very tiring.
Or government. They try to protect us from our worst impulses as a society. And a society that's devoid of God has no boundaries. There's no wrong versus right. It is a selfish society, an inward-facing society, the kind of society right now that we have, right? A society where you have drag queens twerking for kids, where we're mutilating the bodies of young people in the name of transgenderism. So
yeah, no one's supposed to be twerking for children. No one. I've seen clips of the You know, the drag queen reading hour, they're twerking. I've seen birthday parties where Mickey Mouse is twerking. No one should be twerking for children across the board.
That's the kind of society we're living in. So even if you don't believe in God, you should want to live in a society that does.
Well, and David, now let's talk about this Easter egg roll at the White House, right? This is a tradition that goes far back. But kids now, they have this art contest, and these are the children of National Guard members. They're not allowed to have any religious symbols on the eggs for their artwork.
Yeah, and Joey, back me up on this one. And I have plenty of friends who've been in the MW war when they're deployed and they're talking to their kids on a video call, a FaceTime call, something like that. And a lot of times, and I've seen a few of these, more than a few of these, they're saying a prayer together. Pray for daddy to get home safe. Pray. So these are the very kids of our service members who sometimes with mom at home typically, and sometimes with dad at home, are saying a prayer together. And it's about that foundation of we want someone home safe. So now they say take that away from them. But it is a blindness, and it is also part of a strategy to not only take religion and play to their hard left progressive.
There's single issue voters out there. But there's also deal breakers. I believe that your belief in a particular political candidate, there can be a deal breaker for him or her doing something. And I think that this is a major deal breaker for a bunch of people.
Base out of the conversation and out of society and the new God that is government, but it's also an attempt to gaslight the American people to get that reaction while they play to a very small base of people who may go along with this, but the majority of Americans come from a Christian spirituality, a Judeo-Christian background, Hellenic values, and we believe that is the foundation of a good society.
I just want to chime in. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a bait. I really do. I think it's a bait to get an opportunity to paint anyone who disagrees as hateful, as spiteful, as resentful. I don't feel any of those things towards people that are transgender. I just have a special place in my heart for Easter Sunday. And I don't think that's a whole lot to ask for. I don't think it's hateful at all. And I don't think that everyone gets a day. I think that that's part of the problem, is this idea that we've gone from acceptance to adherence. And that's not what this country is built on.
And I should also mention, it's a long-standing policy of the White House. I mean, from what we're hearing from officials, that they're trying not to discriminate in the name of race, religion, Christians. So Christians will say they are being discriminated against.
It's a random day created by a random person out of Michigan. No president has even marked it as any sort of proclamation until 2021. They could have observed it on any other day. Biden chose to observe it on Easter. I think it was with intention. It's a thumb in the face of Christians and Easter.
That's what I'm saying. If you're trying to get every vote possible, you could put it on a different day. That's it. That would have solved so much. It would have solved a whole lot, but they didn't. Well, it is what it is. Post comments down below. Let me know what you all think, folks. If you enjoyed what I thought I had to say, hit the like button, subscribe, and share.